It's 5 o'clock.
We're not used to those cool days.
Mike, you lead us in prayer.
I will.
I don't know who I picked on last time, but
Well, it ain't picking on anybody. Our Father in heaven, we're thankful for another day of life, another day to witness this beautiful weather we're having. And Lord, we're thankful for the many gifts you give us. So many times we don't say thank you enough, and we don't recognize all that you are doing for us. We thank you for this group of people that get together and work for the betterment of their fellow citizens. And we thank you for our visitors tonight. We thank you for really, Lord, just everything you do for us. We ask that you go with us and forgive us our sins.
amen.
Amen.
Anybody like to make public comment? Seeing none, we'll move on. We've got a set of minutes we need to approve.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
I guess we'll turn it over to Christopher and go down our agenda here now.
Right, and you don't have an issue with the way I do this, do you? I do old business first.
It don't bother me.
Okay.
I never said anything. There's the other group the other night said so. You my man. You beat my horse. You don't ever want to race.
Alright, I will reread the comments if you want me to, otherwise, the first item we have on old business is the request for refund of a reservation fee of $600,000 on the Rollins property, which is map 158, parcel 3, and map 157, parcel 76, 7601, 77, 4101, and 49. I did bring all the information, that I presented again last month.
I don't think
mean,
there's
there's
any need to
a
go.
lot of detail to go
Yeah,
through
we,
again.
we referred to our attorneys, so I guess we're ready to hear from him.
Well, Samuel Jackson and I discussed this matter. Sam is a very fine lawyer, very honorable fellow. And I made a proposal and he made a proposal and we they kind of went like this, they never crossed. But I have to tell you that either proposal doesn't bother me, it sounds fair. I suggested that we refund $200,000. Sam asked for $300,000. And, it's a very unusual circumstance, as we talked about last time. If y'all are satisfied that it's unusual enough that we need to make a refund, either one of them is fine.
What's the committee's pleasure on this?
If we move to approve this, I think we need to make it, circumstantial on the fact that they do have a denial letter from Lebanon. I don't want to be setting a precedent for future requests.
Well, we need to somehow make
Relax.
sure that we don't get ourselves into this position again, but I guess that needs to be addressed separate from what we're willing to negotiate to. I assume doesn't Mike?
Well, when you get ready to make your motion on whatever, include that, the special circumstances, and they are there, and this is hard for Mr. Bone to deal with, and us as well, as the people that are not at this table that we depended on couldn't come through, so it's not their fault, not our fault. And that's one of the reasons that Sam feels like maybe the half and half would be the best situation. Mr. Bone may want to talk.
Well, I do want to talk, but only 2 or 3 minutes, and just to say, we, as we said before, we have absolutely no problem with you all, and what you did what we asked you to do. We did what you asked us to do, paid the $600,000, and then we don't get anything for our $600,000 because of the denial letter and the way this has been set up. And our folks thought we ought to get all the money back, and Paul said 200, and so I went back to them after that, and they, and after he and Sam talked, and they would not be happy, but they would be satisfied if we could get the 300, and that's our request tonight that you, that you do the 300, and we would be very appreciative of our relationship with y'all, and, you know, of course, it may come back around. I mean, I don't know, you know, you never know how this is gonna roll around, but, that would be our request, that you do the 300, so, thank you. We appreciate it.
Let me say this, Mr. Chairman, the reason for doing a refund is the same whether you do either amount. You know, it's not, it doesn't trigger one amount versus the other. The 300,000 is certainly fair under the circumstances.
It seems like it seems reasonable to me. I mean, nobody was at fault here. It's just a bad situation.
Right.
And that's splitting everything right down the middle. It seems reasonable to me, but I don't know what the feeling of the committee is.
The horse trader, I mean, he just has to ask this, Mr. Attorney. If you asked for 2 and he asked for 3, was the 250 ever thrown out there?
It wasn't. It wasn't. I think it kind of took Sam.
And I don't wanna jeopardize anything there, but you just gotta ask the question.
He asked for 4. Sam asked.
Sam, he puttered around there and said, we think it ought to be more and all that. But
Yeah.
the,
So,
no, we didn't talk about 250.
we think, but,
I didn't know the 4 was thrown out there, so I mean, that's still.
well, we asked for 600, and then,
Yeah.
then we went down.
We did too.
Then we went down to 4,
Yeah.
and so, and that's the reason we, you know, they're ready to settle and be done with this at 300 if y'all approve that, and if you don't, you know, we'll just keep talking.
I think under the circumstances that 300 is fair.
I think so too. I would like to see a motion when we make it that we return 300,000, but that resolves this completely. So if in the future, if y'all come back,
We start all over.
we'll start all over.
Right,
I think that's just a fair way to handle it.
absolutely.
So, somebody want to make a motion, or
I'll word that as a motion, well, I'll make that as a motion, I'll let my attorney word that, never how it needs to be worded, but that we return 300,000 to the Rollins family. Under the circumstances, not to set precedent, and that this is the conclusion of the matter. How's that?
That's good. No precedent at all. Okay.
Second.
you got a motion and a second?
Now for, I guess, an amendment to that money be refunded out of the sewer access reserve fund, so it's
Yeah.
not touching
It
the
will
general
be,
fund.
and I talked to Aaron about it. He's gonna check with Mike, but he felt that we didn't even have to carry this before the county court to vote on.
Just refund it out of that.
Out of that, we've got that set in that special line, Mike,
Mm-hmm.
and he was gonna touch base with you, but he felt like he could just go ahead and refund it.
What is that? What's that
It's
called?
called the sewer access reserve fund.
I'll
I
accept
can
that
get-
amendment.
I can get you the account number on that as well.
But you and him both need to agree to that being the proper way, Mike, I assume.
Yeah, we'll wordsmith that some way, include everything in there.
Will you reflect in the minutes that if you approved the 300, that you did that without Hatcher being present?
Yeah. The things proceeded a lot better without Hatch. He may be watching this.
Due to the
No,
absence of Mr. Hatch.
Yeah, there you go.
Losing
Yeah.
300.
I'm sorry.
That's all right.
Oh,
Gotta get licks in where you can.
That's right.
let's see, so we've got an amendment, you accept it, I
Accept it.
assume, and it's in there. I guess we need to vote on the amendment. All those in,
So you voting on the, as amended, the whole?
as amended?
Yeah.
Yeah, and, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Let it be shown, the ayes have it. Our next
you say we're gonna refund that, what, 2029 or 30?
Well, that's-
Something like that.
I was gonna
Till
say,
interest
that
goes
I
back
need to wait
down
for the
to 1%.
You
No,
tell Sam Jackson he beat me down.
I'll tell him.
No, I told him that I thought what he was talking about was fair.
I did talk to him about it. He didn't say that there would be any problem about refunding it.
I would
He
say
felt
we could
that
probably
he
live,
wouldn't even have to go Fort County Court or
Good.
anything to release it,
I
so.
would say we could probably live by our own policy and do it within 30 days.
Okay. All right.
So I shouldn't be thinking it get in this month. Anyway, I'm just kidding. Thank y'all so much. I hope I don't see you again in this context, but I appreciate it. All right.
All right, see you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank y'all. Go ahead, Chris.
Okay, the next item is, under old business, it was deferred from the 8/12 meeting. This is a request to release property for Sealcat Title Holdings. The property is located at 299 McCreary Place, it's Sealcat Title Holdings. The reason this was left on the agenda, I believe the applicant is wanting to pull this request, but I did not get a formal letter of that, and that's why it's still left on the agenda. The applicant is here, he can make that request, or we can just vote to deny this particular request.
Well, I guess if he wants to withdraw it, we have,
Yeah, I apologize, Chris.
No, it's fine.
I would request that we withdraw that, at this time.
do we need to vote on that? or
Yes,
is
sir.
that-
No, he can
Well, I didn't know
withdraw
we
anytime.
being on the agenda.
No, no,
Okay.
even with it on the agenda, if he requests
Okay.
withdrawal, you don't have to vote on it going forward.
All right, so I guess we're ready for new business.
Yes, sir. So the new business, this is, Cellcat Title Holdings again, 299 McCreary Place. Jamie Gillespie representing Cellcat Title Holdings Company is requesting 5.0 SFUs of sewage flow per day or up to 1,750 gallons per day in reservation for what is currently known as Cellcat Project, which has a variance use from the BZA to be operated as a school. That's one of the reasons we're entertaining this project. The property being referenced is map 122, parcels 1.08, which contains approximately 39.41 acres located at 299 McCreary Road. Property is currently owned by Cellcat Title Holdings Company, according to Wilson County tax records. Staff has been in contact with the City of Lebanon officials to discuss this proposal with them. The city has completed their review and fee calculations, and the fee letters to the developer from the city is attached in your packet. And that was the last page in your packet was the approval letter from the City of Lebanon. All sewer access fees payable to the county for each proposed project will become due prior to the issuance of final approval for a specific site plan and its related capacity commitment. There is a 10% reservation fee that is due within 30 days of this approval. This is non-refundable if capacity is not utilized within 2 years. The committee has reached an agreement that a standard timeline policy should be put in place for each of these sewer access reservation commitments that are approved. As such, staff's understanding of this commitment is that any approval of sewer reservation will be for a period of 2 years with an extension of an additional 2-year reservation with presentation and approval of each site plan for the property in question. The total breakdown of the sewer payment, total unreserved on the Stewart's Ferry Pike segment, this I believe is coming from the Stewart's Ferry Pike pump station, the way they're gonna have to access this. It currently has 455.49 SFUs, the total request is 5. If this is reserved, the remaining capacity will be 450.49 SFUs. The total payment due to the county from this proposal if fully built out will be $150,000. The 10% fee due within 30 days would be $15,000. The assessment of this situation, staff does feel that the property qualifies for connection permissions from this committee and can recommend approval. This is a R1 zone tract, so it's very unique on where we've allowed sewer capacity. They do have a BZA use approval, as interpreted the use will be utilized for what they interpret as a school. So that does fit within our bylaw recommendations of uses that are allowed on it. If the property in the future were for some reason to change their use to something that was not coherent with the bylaws that we had passed, they would be utilizing the capacity in violation. I don't know how we would go forward on that, so it's kind of a unique situation with the zoning. This will be the first residentially zoned tract that we approve this for. but they do have a school use approved by the BZA. And they do have a site plan that's been approved by the planning commission, so they followed everything else to a T. It's just the zoning of the property is unique.
Kind of headed down a slippery slope here, but I got a question for you.
Sure.
Are you sure it's R1?
It's either R1 or
I was
R2.
thinking, say, one time it was R2, and I don't remember anybody downgrading.
I'll double check it, but I know it's residentially zoned.
Yeah.
Maybe R2.
I think it was R2 at one time.
I can check
But
that really quick.
about being in violation of where we're granting it as a school, how do we handle a situation like that, Mike? If 5 years from now, they sell the piece of property and somebody wanted to develop it or add more residential housing to it?
You talking about the property where they're gonna put the school?
Yes, sir.
See, it's,
Once the sewer's there.
it's not,
there.
I mean, I understand how we've reached this point, Board of Zoning Appeals has granted them that title, but it's not like they're building a school building as we refer to a school. And,
Yeah, that's the thing running along the dormitory type thing that we talked about where they're doing the teaching there, but nobody lives on site.
But there's 40 acres,
It's a total of 40 acres.
Yeah.
yes, sir.
and I know, this will be specific to a certain portion, correct? Is that the way we looked at it before?
Well, that's the way we had
Well,
that
no, that's
discussion
when
if
we
we
were
were gonna
talking about
release it.
releasing it.
Yeah,
So this would be
it's for the whole
for the
property.
40 acres.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how you sell somebody something or grant somebody something and then, but we specifically have rules about no residential
Yeah,
use.
um,
How do we keep from getting ourselves into a predicament is the question.
well, I don't know for sure that you can or can't. Mr. Chairman, my suggestion would be if you decide to do it, you make it specific to however many acres you want and only for this purpose. And, limit it to that. And then if they don't do that, they've got you hooked for 5 acres or whatever, but would you say 40?
I think it's
The
40
whole
acres,
site's
right?
39 and a half. You are correct, it is zoned R2, I'm just double check. But yeah, it's 39 and a half acres, it's all zoned R2, so it's a residential tract, which allows school uses on there per use on appeal.
Yeah.
This is just unique because most of those tracts, the school use was put in there for public schools.
Yeah.
A very different situation, those probably will never go back after they're developed.
Yeah.
This is a private company, we don't know the future of them. I mean, I'm sure they intend on staying there for a long time.
Is a school allowed in C3 or C1?
I believe so, I think it's in all of our zone districts except for industrial.
Just curious why go for a variance instead of rezoning? If you can speak to that.
They, the owner, they did that portion before we were engaged. I really am not sure why they did. I mean, they looked into the property and I guess they decided they could, it was, I think for them, I think a lot of it was location. They really wanted to be in this area.
I understand wanting to be in the area, I was just curious. Because if they had rezoned it to C1 or whatever, then that would have been used by right versus having to go.
Yeah, I may be able to answer a little bit of that. Whenever they first started looking at this property, I think they were more hinged on us releasing them and allowing the step system use, and they would have an on-site system. If they would have got a commercial zone, they would not have been allowed to proceed with that.
Okay.
They would have had to look into this.
That-
Now, this is kind
That
of,
does make more sense.
this has kind of come from them moving forward and just needing that. And this board may or may not have released it, but I think that's kind of what their main goal was at the front, which if they would have got commercially zoned, that's not an option at that point.
Okay.
Well, and I didn't mean to give you an evasive answer, but we really don't know if we grant this approval and put limitations on it, whether or not somebody might sue somewhere down the road or whatever. But I think if you're gonna grant it, we're probably gonna be in a position of trying, kinda like we did the first thing on the agenda tonight, and make sure it's tied up to specific allowances or whatever, so that there's no misunderstanding. And then if they go off in a different direction, we'd probably be in a position where we have to file
Well, I mean,
suit
long as
through
it's-
Karen's office.
As long as it remains some type of commercial business there, they fall in line.
Yeah, if you don't want subdivision going there.
But, well, I mean, I don't, it's not like we're accusing that's your
No,
intentions or
no.
anything, but we have very specific rules that there's no residential connections to it.
That's correct.
If I might say, I mean, if there's a way to word it in as such, that if it reverts to any other use, then the equivalent units are have to be restarted or go away, but, you know. if it
So you
reverts
would,
back.
you would lose, y'all would be okay with putting it in there some way that if you choose to sell the property in the future or head in a residential directions, you would be with the understanding you would lose your sewer connection.
I think they would be willing to do that, because as far as these guys are concerned, they have this purpose, they wanna be there, and I mean, like you said, I mean, you know, hopefully they'll be there and they'll be there for a long time.
Well, I understand.
But if something happens and they decide, well, we wanna get rid of it, then they need to know up front that when you go, your sewer capacity goes, and unless it's a similar use or a commercial use that's acceptable, it can't be a residential use.
Can we put that in a word?
We can, and we can, and the reason I was kind of evasive on you again is we hadn't been in this situation before, so we don't know if they, and I certainly have no doubt about this gentleman, but if they do something different, we may have to sue. Or if we go in and say, you've crossed the line and we stop it, they may sue us, but there's no way to know that. So I think the reverter he's talking about, if you approve it for a certain portion of the land or all of the land, but it's gonna, if it ever goes to a residential use, the sewer, use will revert back to us and be nullified, something like that.
And that will hold up if the way business is.
I hope we don't have to find out, but I think it will. I think it will, Haskell.
I can put all that language in my approval letter as well, just to kind of
Yeah.
create a paper trail there.
You think your people will be good with that then?
Yes, sir, I do, I think so, because they would only, I mean, and I can't completely speak for them except for just my interaction with them over the last 6 months. But I know their intent is what they have in mind, and I don't know that, I mean, if they decide to go in another different direction, right now they don't wanna do that, and if it means that sewer has to revert back, I'm sure they'd be fine with it. I mean.
But you understand you'd have buildings sitting there at that point with no sewer access, if something like that happened.
Yes, sir.
I hate to enter into something and somebody feel like they were wrong somehow is what worries me.
Right.
Uh,
Well, I mean, the thing that you mentioned about it being commercial, if it stays a commercial use, that could the sewer capacity still stay in effect if it's a commercial use?
Yes, I would assume so.
And if that's the case and those buildings stay there, then I think it's commercial use and it's all tied to that, I don't see no problem with that. I don't think they would see a problem with that.
Here's what I was gonna ask, more out of curiosity and anything, as I remember, y'all are gonna do some type of training or schooling there. People gonna come out there during the day, but they go home at night.
Well, they'll spend the night in the dormitory. They'll spend the
Okay.
night there in the dormitory.
Okay,
They will stay there overnight in the dormitory, but I brought up, they're not doing cooking, they don't have a kitchen, there's no kitchen or kitchenette or anything like that in the dorm rooms.
Okay.
All the food is brought in and out for every meal, and
But-
I'm not sure how long the training sessions are.
all right, but then, if you set up for people to stay there, it appears to me that it's just a financial matter of changing those into group housing, apartments, and that's not what we want.
And it's zoned R2.
Yeah. That's, so we gotta tie that down somehow. We have to assume. the
No,
worst.
that's a great point, I understand that, that's a great point.
Because that's already set up, you say you're not gonna do any cooking there, but, you know, the way apartments are in this county and these cities, it might be beneficial to go in there and put a kitchenette in each one of them and get $2,000 a month for them.
And we're not making accusations at
No,
all,
not
we're
at
just
all.
trying.
No, I understand, you gotta think through it, I appreciate being able to hear your thoughts, and, I mean, we wanna get it resolved, but at the same time, we need to know what your concerns are.
Yeah.
And, I mean, the residential use, if it could be put in there that would revert it back and it would cancel the sewer use, I think that's gonna be great. I think that's gonna be fine, because they have no plans for any of that kind of thing. And if they have to, it's in the letter that's approved, whatever it has to do with in the future going forward for selling it, I think that would be fine. They would just have to know that up front.
You wanna say something, Mr. Earl?
Yes, should we not make sure that the property owners understand what we're fixing to put in writing?
He's
Well,
representing.
He represents them and they'll have it in writing before they pay for the access.
Okay, they will see a copy of this before they,
I send an approval letter and any stipulations that we put on them that are outside of our typical approval letter, I'll put all that in there. So they'll get a copy of that and then we have documentation that, yes, we sent it. Now I'm gonna send it to Mr. Gillespie because he's been my primary contact. I'm assuming he's gonna get it to the property owners once I send it.
Now, let's address one other thing here before we go any further. You just saw the situation we got into with this other piece of property. In this letter from the city, according to the city utility maps, there is not an existing gravity sewer main to this property. In order to access the existing public force main, this development would need to install a private wastewater pump station with pumps that can operate as part of the larger manifold force main system, and so on and so forth. To me, I'm not intelligent enough to tell you, but it sounds expensive. So before you go any further and ask for us to grant this access, and y'all be on a timeline of 30 days to pay that deposit, do you wanna maybe go and find out what it would cost y'all to do all of this? Because we don't wanna wind up in a situation like we were just in. I'd hate for you to come back after y'all paid your deposit and say, well, it's gonna cost us this huge sum of money, and we can't financially do that, we'd like our deposit back.
Yes, sir. I appreciate that very much. We, in that letter that we received from Ms. Santana, I followed up with her and asked her who we needed to talk to, because to be honest with you, I was trying to help them understand we need to keep the reservation, or, the restriction for that versus going this way, what we're on the agenda for first. And so I asked her who I needed to speak with to determine that, where are we gonna have to go? And I've spoken to, she gave me the contact information for their engineers that handle their stuff. And so I reached out and spoke with that gentleman, and we talked about it, and he said that there's a force main that actually crosses this property, and they would be able to actually tie in to that force main.
Okay.
And it will be a pump station on our site. It's got to be sized appropriately to overcome the head pressure and all the operational pressures. But we are confident that and the owners are aware of that. We've expressed that to them, and so I don't have any reservation about that part right this minute. And in fact, in this letter, it also mentions a global sewer agreement and we've already reached out to the city to pay that. And I'm confident that they'll pay the 10%.
Well, I understand that, but what happened with this other situation, they came with they knew they were gonna have some additional expense on their shoulders, but when they really got down to brass tacks, the number was just much larger than they ever dreamed, and they weren't willing to go that route. So that's how we wound back up in this discussion we just finished. And I just wanna make sure, that y'all understand that, because we probably wouldn't wanna, we're not gonna set a precedent of refunding deposits.
No, sir, I understand that.
And that's, I'm worried about you is why I'm saying this.
Well, and I appreciate that, and I would say, again, I mean, I forwarded this to them and asked them to have their attorney review it to make sure they were comfortable with it. And, what came back was, you know, who do we pay and let's go.
Okay.
They're ready to go, and they don't have a reservation about that right this minute. I do understand your concern, and I really appreciate it. And it's a valid concern, because it could be a pretty significant pump station. But I think that what I was concerned about was we're gonna have to run gravity sewer down, trenching in rock, gravity sewer all the way down the road, to your point. And I've been informed that that would not be the case, otherwise I would probably have the same reservation you have. But I believe that the pump station that we're dealing with, even though it will be fairly significant, that they're prepared to move forward with it.
As long as they're aware of that up front, it's all I'm concerned about. If you're willing to move forward, I assume we're willing to act on it.
Yes, sir, we are.
Okay. Any further discussion? I guess we need a motion on this.
Make a motion that we approve this subject to, or with the understanding that if it, in any point future, reverts back to any other use besides commercial, that they do lose their access. And subject to the owners agreeing to this, once they see it, once they see and understand the terms. How's that?
Let's say if they agree to pay the reservation fee, they'd agree to that, right? If they don't pay the reservation fee, they've obviously got problems with it.
I would hope that they would sign something saying that they had actually read what we did.
I can set something up like that. You want to put
Does that make sense?
I can put a signature block in the approval letter.
County attorney.
Yeah, that'd be good. I think I'd feel better too if they signed your letter, that they agreed.
I can set something up and say this one to be returned without a signature. Yeah, I can do that.
Is that,
Yes, sir, that's great. I appreciate it. I'd like that too. From my perspective, I want to make sure everybody knows what's going on.
that way they're not just blindly paying it and
Yes, sir.
then,
Yes, sir. I'll do my best.
and then
to
come back
explain it.
later and say, oh, we didn't know that.
Right. I'll do my best to explain it, but I think that's a good idea.
I mean, that might be a good policy, just having all our approval letters going forward with the issue that we just
Probably
had.
would be.
Might not be a good idea.
Any other thoughts, Mr. Earl?
Yeah, no, you got it.
So we've got a motion, I have a second,
Second.
motion and a second.
Get some lengthy motions tonight.
Y'all killing me. We gone past motion to approve, ain't we?
We left that behind long ago. Any amendments you want to make to this one?
I don't have any on this one. It's just. it's
I'm
on-
probably gonna word this and send it to you unless you
That's
tell me that it's accurate.
Right.
And you can't hurt my feelings if you change it.
We've got a motion and a second, any further discussion? Not all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Show the ayes have it.
That is all I have for you all tonight. If you have any other questions you may have, that's all that's on the agenda for tonight.
Should start going back to what we've just completed, Mike. Should we have some kind of letter that goes with any submissions in the future that we plainly state there will not be, we won't grant reimbursements or refunds or how, I don't wanna take advantage of anybody, but a deposit's a deposit, I mean, you
Well,
know.
do you
There's
want,
a reason why we set up the deposit.
sure. Do you want that to go to them when they make their application or when y'all approve it? Saying that they understand.
I think the earlier in the process, the better.
I'm kinda
personally.
thinking that too.
Yeah, and then like I say, maybe when they, come and pay for the access, they have to sign that approval. I just don't wanna feel like we're taking advantage of anybody in any way. But the way before we went to requiring the deposit, you could come tie up capacity at that time for 4 years and it didn't cost you a penny. I mean, so what, no sweat, you know, we'll go get approval and we've got 4 years to do something with it. Now we've reduced that down, but the deposit kind of makes it, as the old saying goes, makes the cheese more binding.
Makes it real, don't it?
That's it.
We also require site plan approval now by the
Yeah,
planning commission, which is in most jurisdictions probably backwards, but there's no other jurisdiction in the state that has an access committee. So I mean, they have to go through some legwork unknowingly whether or not they've got approval first, but
No.
that's part of our policy to make it a little more real on our end.
Yeah, like I say, I just trying to avoid any further problems in the future, and by all means, that was the largest amount of capacity we had ever granted, is why the number was so large, and,
Spent quite a bit of time on that.
so, anyway, that's just something we probably need to work on heading forward to try to avoid problems. Any further business? No, I need one more motion.
Motion to adjourn.
Especially
I just
Thank y'all.
Thank y'all so much